This is the Zone Football League.
Welcome back to another episode of the Zone In podcast, where we talk everything Zone Football League in Newcastle. I'm Mason, as always. You might be wondering who's joining me today, and you will see in 2 seconds. It is CT in a more comfortable position, down on the couch, joined by our special guest today from Kotara South. CT, I'll throw over to you, whether you want to introduce the boys or...
Well, I'll go to Willow first. So Willow Greaves, Willow and I, just to qualify, we do know each other well. Willow, I'll let you introduce your teammates and the boys, and yeah, go for it.
Thanks, CT. Thanks, Mason. And thanks, Bar TV. It's great to be here. Truly exciting to have our competition this year with Bar TV. I think it's giving it a real buzz. And, yeah, we're really happy to be part of that. And tonight I have one of my co-captains, Zac Fife, in the middle next to you, CT. And Cooper Toppy next to him. Just a good lad around the boys. Yeah. Great player. And, yeah, love having him at our club.
Nice. I feel like when I saw the list of names come in that was coming in tonight, Coop might have been like the comedic relief value, or...
Yeah, I'm pretty funny. Some of the boys say around the club.
Yeah.
I get that a lot. No, I don't actually. I think it's some of the boys just like to say that. I like to say that sometimes. I'm a pretty funny man. Fife thinks I'm pretty funny as well. Yeah. But yeah.
If maybe not the funniest guy, you've surely got to be one of the tallest players at the
I think
club.
that's why I look funny as well. Yeah. Because I'm so tall. Might not be funny, but look it.
Well, besides maybe, is it Joe Barnett that looks like a baby giraffe when he runs?
You got him covered. Big time, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Height. Oh, height. I've got him covered, yeah.
Yeah.
But not running like a giraffe. He beats me in that one.
Yeah,
sure.
I know you
tried to set me up here. Right? Sorry, Joey. It was about 6 years ago. One
of CT's favourite things to bring up that I hear. But no, it's great to have you guys in this afternoon, and we'll while it's fresh on the mind, we'll touch on the match of the round game against Mayfield on the weekend that you guys were a part of. Special day for them being the Wayne Bull Memorial Day, and is that the reason why you gave them the win?
I'm not going to answer that one.
Okay. Obviously, it wasn't the reason we gave them the win, but it's a very special day for them. And unfortunately for us, we just ran into a quality opposition on the day. And the way Mayfield play, especially at Mayfield Park, is they go ahead early and you're chasing the game. It becomes very hard. They're very organised, very compact, and it's just very hard to break them down after that. And we didn't want to get into that scrap, but ended up getting into the scrap, didn't play our football. We'll get them next time, but yeah, great day for them, and I'm glad they could enjoy their special day.
Just on that point, it was like the first minute, literally, and it was in the back of the net.
I think it was 37 seconds.
Yeah, and the ground's heavy, like it was heavy, but they did amazing for us to have a game on.
Yeah.
But it always makes it hard. But you didn't look troubled like early, like it didn't. You know, you looked like you were going to go about business as usual. Is that how it felt?
Yeah, like when we conceded at first, I think the general consensus was no one was super concerned. We've been behind in a couple of games this year and we fought back, but it did kind of creep in after the second one a little bit that, oh my gosh, we're at Mayfield Park again. There's this curse almost that we can't win there, and it's like 2-0 down, bad mistakes that don't happen every other week, and now we got to chase the game. It just made it a little bit harder.
Yeah, and the conditions don't help you
No.
in catch-up football, do you? Because it's easy to defend and then attack in those types of conditions.
100%, yeah.
And that's what it looked like for you guys.
Yeah, it's just couldn't play our normal style of football on a wet pitch. So.
Yeah. And Willow, I guess a question for you. Coming in, I'd say maybe statistical favourites, being a bit higher on the ladder, good form, above Mayfield. How did that feel as a coach and the vibe around the squad coming into that game on Saturday?
It's an interesting dilemma when you are top of the table, and I think Croatia now being there and the teams that are around the top, we weren't assuming that entitled us to anything. Mayfield were on the podcast last week, and you hear them talk about the culture that they have there and the legends that have been there, and a day like they had so much meaning and so much for them to play for. I'm not sure that too many teams would have gone to Mayfield Park on that day and collected all 3 points. So we're under no illusions as to the task this year that's going to be, the quality in the competition, has been said by anybody, is crazy. I think there's the teams in the zone of the league above probably won't like me saying, but I think there's a genuine feeling around our competition that you can almost go bang bang and get promoted twice with the quality of players that are around. As everybody knows, there's so many NPL quality players in our league because of work, because of family, because of these other commitments, and it's why they come to us. And it creates this. The competition is phenomenal in my opinion, and we knew that we were going to get the battle. We absolutely did. For me, as a coach, I'm always going to try to be positive. And last year, a couple of these games where we went a couple down early, we then got blown away. So for me to keep fighting, get the goal before half time, of course, coming out of the sheds, the talk's gone once they score again. But again, we never, ever stopped trying to that last whistle. We had probably a chance to get 3-3. So to keep fighting and to only lose by a goal, it might come down to one goal at the end of the season. So I'm really proud of the boys for fighting that hard. Disappointed that they had to, there's a goalkeeping error. There's some soft goals. I guess we maybe gave them, the points, but I'm really proud of how the boys went.
And it was definitely a battle, as you say. To just hear that Kotara lost that game doesn't exactly reflect the scoreline or the effort out on the field. And CT, you were fortunate enough to be there watching from the sideline, commentating. Coming off what Willow said there, I'm sure you'd have to agree that it was definitely a battle, an entertaining game, but also a good, hard-fought battle from Kotara. Yeah,
we'll look without sounding too much on the Mayfield thing. They did a great job, and when you've got a lot to play for, that enthusiasm, the excitement, the purpose, to achieve, that was evident, and you guys were definitely right in the game. There's no doubt about it. So, but just that real, they were going to do anything to win type mentality, and on a ground, like I said before, heavy and slow and hard to push around. It's a leveler. But they played good football. There was some really good their defensive unit was hard to break down. Through the middle of the park, they were pretty tough. And I thought Harry Schnitzel, man of the match, Sam Brain, I thought he was really good. Yeah. But there was like half a dozen of them. It wasn't just one. So there was a lot of players there. And up front, they were pretty strong too. Ball was held up well, and there was a lot of reason for them to know that they should win. And those couple of goals, one right at the beginning of the game, one straight after half time, they're coach killers. Aren't they, brother? But the team, the resilience of the group to come through. That's the thing for me. That says to me there's a semi-final team there that's going to be in and about it. Yeah, for sure. And as you say, strong team that Mayfield had out there, but strong players across the park overall. But Mayfield did have their time on the podcast last week, so we will try put that aside and talk about you guys that are here in front of us. What a great start to the season, though, not only in first grade, but across all three grades at the club. First in first grade, reserve grade, and then second in first grade, first in reserve grade, and second in conference league as well for the thirds. That's a great achievement to have all three teams so consistent. And Willow, as head coach, you would be that would be quite exciting for you, knowing that doesn't matter if you've got some players injured, away, unavailable, anything like that, that your next up players are just as capable to be in the squad.
Absolutely. And it's, I guess, this is my second year as the head coach, and that was definitely something where we were trying to build a depth throughout the squad where, the reserve graders are pushing first graders and Conference League are pushing reserve graders, because that's what I believe creates that environment where people want to improve, and they have to improve to get minutes. And absolutely, we went to Warners Bay, we went to Cardiff, we went to uni. There's some really tough road trips, and Cardiff aside, to get 9 points from those road trips, absolutely, I was very proud. And the boys, most people say it, but the boys had a really tough pre-season, and I think that has come through along with there's a real quality at the club and a depth that is exciting and tricky at the same time. But definitely proud of our start. But in that, we've been going one game at a time. We're not, it's such a long season, and the reality for us is we didn't play finals last year. So again, we're under no illusions as to what we need to do to achieve more. We're going game by game, week by week, training by training, and we're just trying to build, see what happens from there.
And especially in the current situation with so many washout at the moment, it's hard. Probably not the best timing for this game just gone to come, as I'm sure, like everyone else in the comp, training's been affected almost to nothing. No games. You're really trying to push to be still fit, both physically and mentally, really, for football. For you, Zac and Cooper, how's that been with these washouts and everything, trying to stay focused on the season when the season almost has now restarted?
God forbid we have a night off on any of these Tuesday, Thursdays over the last month. So even no matter what the weather's been, Willow's been pushing us down, whether it's running sessions or Spears Point, whatever we can do to make ends meet. We've even had Pilates in there a couple of times. But we've trained pretty much every single Tuesday, Thursday. Numbers have still been pretty good throughout. It's been a tough period, I'm sure, for everyone as well. But Willow hasn't taken it easy. He hasn't given us any nights off. But I think that'll be better for us in the long run.
I think also on top of that is majority of the boys are keen for it as well, that training, and we have that club culture now where we're all there for each other. Even conference league boys and first grade boys, we're at the pub after every game as well. So training's just like that for us. We're mixed teams. We don't separate. There's no separation there. So it's just the boys really at the end of the day wanting to just have a kick. So whatever the weather, it doesn't really stop us.
I'm just going to angle this one off to you, blokes. We'll leave old mate out here because we've had.
It's a good idea.
He and I have had lots of conversations, over the time.
Yeah.
I'm talking a lot. We've spoken a lot. Training, culture, and football philosophy. How does that all come together? And be really honest. Not talking about Willow, but just the way the whole group's come together under his leadership.
Well, I think. In my opinion, it is a lot to do with Willow. I think he brings this authentic side of football where it's not just about what you play on the field, it's about what happens off the field, and that's what I relate it back to what we do with training. The boys are keen to rock up, and also Mark Mansfield, the coach before, they both created this environment where the boys want to be there. We've been doing sessions even at the baths and having these sessions where we're just open and talking to each other, not necessarily playing football. And that's helped me a lot with it.
Let me ask you this question. There's one side of it's football, the other side of it's life. So if you're happy off the park, you're going to be happy on the park.
100%.
How does this bloke do that? And I know Mans was good at too, Mark Mansfield. Mans is really good at that. How does this bloke go about that?
I feel like we're tooting Willow's horn a bit here, but
I know. I feel something hit me. I think it might be his head. I'm not sure.
I was good cop. You can do that.
I'll have to be a good cop as well. He places a lot of emphasis on mental health as well, which a lot of the boys really do appreciate, especially kind of break that stigma of, we don't have to always be tough all the time in a sporting club. We can actually speak as mates and everything as well, which is really good and beneficial for the boys. It just breaks down that barrier of not just teammates but also friends as well. And credit to Willow, he's done that really, really well. And I just think that creates an environment that everyone wants to be a part of. So.
Yeah, that's super cool. I'll angle back off Willow. When you hear that and all of the effort you put in, and I know Man's put a really strong platform in place, but you get a new group every year and it changes and whatever. You've got to do your own thing. When you hear comments like that, does that feel like you should be where you are on the ladder, you deserve to be there? Or, there's a whole range of things to break down there. Obviously, for me, the question is, hearing that, does it all make sense?
Look, yes and no. I guess I'm always honest with the guys. I don't pretend that I know everything. I make more mistakes than anyone. and I own up. I get in front of the group. I did it before Mayfield. I make mistakes. I want my players to make mistakes. I don't want them to be scared of that, because there's a certain mindset that you need to be in to perform at your best. And these things like gratitude, empathy, mindfulness in the work that I've done on myself with my own mental health battles have led me to some really eye-opening tools that that have helped me. So all I can go on is my experiences in life, and if I can share one little bit of something that might help, Fife on a hard day after work, or Toppy, in the middle of a rap or a movie scene or something that they might get something from, then to me it's really hard in sport, where ultimately it is about winning and the result. We all crave what that gives us, but at the end of the day, football is such a release where we can get away from our families, our work, the stresses of life, and we can just be ourselves. And that personally it's shaped, any club, you have mates for life when you play with them, and that mateship and that what it can give you, I think is far more special than winning. But it's by being in this mental state, I believe it allows you to win as well. So it's a really interesting thing to delve into.
Yeah, it sure is. And Mason, you're involved at Merriweather. Do you see similar themes at your group, or is it set up differently? How does it go in your place?
No, 100%. Especially as the saying, like with all the washouts and stuff at the moment, still been trying to get together in one way or another. If it's not training, it's hanging out at the pub, going for runs together, just catching up and stuff like that. So I definitely agree that mental health within the game and off the field is something very important. And I think you guys are partnered with Talk to Me Bro as well. They're a great organisation in that area as well. So definitely, it's a very important thing. As you say, it's maybe fantasised that winning and losing is all that matters, but definitely there's more than one battle in the football world that you've got to try and aim to win. It sounds like you guys are smashing it in that aspect as well.
Look, we're trying, it's a journey, and, there's a lot of famous quotes, the journey, I guess, is, the destination, or, that's, when you look at, so if winning is your goal, so if you win this year, well, what do you have then? Do you know what I mean? So it's about trying to be better people, better mates, better, be better every day. And it's very cliche, but it's also very hard. I'm not going to sit here and pretend that I know everything and that my mental health is amazing and I have fun all the time, right? It's really bloody hard, but that's all right, because hard things are what make you better. The more you do them, the more you attack them, they don't have that sort of losing those negative connotations that go with them. So it's bloody hard, but I'm working hard. The boys are working hard. We're having a crack, and it's exciting for me to see them maybe get some reward and maybe see the benefits, but they're the ones ultimately that are doing it. That's I'm really proud of them and that they're buying into it. Which is difficult because there's some interesting things for them to do, which is different, but it's good to see them embrace it.
For sure.
For me, I couldn't tell you how many games I've won or lost in my career, but what I can tell you is I've got a lot of mates and lifelong friends out of this game, and when you look back at your career and you start to get a bit of grey hair like him or whatever, you'll realise how important, the stuff you've done outside of the game. So I'm really stoked to hear what you guys are doing, because that sets a great platform on so many levels, and that's awesome. And something to look forward to is next weekend. So we've got the match around coming up against Swansea, Mason. This is going to be massive. I can't wait to do this. I can't wait to be a part of it.
You've been excited ever since I told you that we penciled it in.
Well, just for those of you who don't know, I played my under-6s to under-16s at Kotara as a junior, and went to Germany with Kotara, and as our team went under 15s, and loved it, and I'm going to be wearing that shirt tits and all on the weekend. But, I can't wait. It's going to be good fun. And talk about club legends at Mayfield. What about some of the legends you've got in your club? Like, you got the Pippins, the Moylans, the Fitchett's, the Deerings. I mean, Borksy, we got all these guys, like, and the 300 that I've left out just then. There's always a big crew on Old Boys Day at Nesbitt Park. Can't wait to see all of you there. And Borksy, it's now about 3 sleeps to go. Yeah, that's the text that he puts out every week. Should be a fun day. What's the most exciting bit for you guys? Like, what is it that makes that happen?
I personally think, obviously, the atmosphere and everyone there, but like for me personally, I started playing at Kotara, 7 years ago or something when I was 17, 18, 16, I don't know what it was. And a lot of the older boys in that group then when I was young and they were looking after me on the football field and pub and stuff, and now considered our old boys. And they're always watching, and so it's just kind of cool to, give back in a way that's like celebrate them, celebrate, and then they've got their old boys and everything. So it's just really cool to celebrate the whole day and really embodies what Kotara is about.
Yeah, it's about giving back to the club for me, especially like I started my football career at Kotara under sixes with the Jed McIsaacs, Finn Barnetts, who I still play with today. And yeah, seriously, it's the community. I have like everyone, even my family, come down, like everyone that's around who doesn't even play football, the neighbours, they just hear the roar, the Tiger roar, and they come down and watch me score some goals. It's good. It's nice.
So obviously every game you go out and you put the black and orange on, you're playing for the badge. But obviously in a game like this, it must, as you say, you've got your old boys that fostered you through their old boys and stuff, seeing them putting the strip on, does it make you more nervous for that game, or is it almost a feeling so special that nerves just go out the window?
Pure adrenaline for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, hypes me up big time.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
I swear it's almost like a superpower. Honestly, I can't remember an old boys at Nezzy that we've lost. Correct me if I'm not jinxing anything. For this weekend,
big call.
hopefully, but I don't know.
We have lost a couple.
Yeah. Okay, sorry about that. But the last couple of years, it just feels like you run out and you've got so much support that everyone just lifts collectively, and the press is faster and harder. Everyone's more physical. It's louder. It's just it's great. Yeah.
Yeah, Foz and Turtle, who I'm talking about. I'm sitting here as an old boy as well, right? So now we're all doing the same thing. My mum used to work in the canteen, when I was a kid there. So, when I go into the canteen here, I'd have these flashbacks to mum. She passed away 5 or 6 years ago, but have these flashbacks to her being in the canteen, and I just think, wow. And I just wonder what she would think today if she came out and saw what we're going to do, on the weekend, what that's all about. And Swansea, they're going to be up for it. Like these guys are going to be wanting to do, to you what Mayfield has done. So, they'll be really aware. So for you Swansea guys, get up for it, because you'll be up for a big game as well. And I haven't seen Swansea play this year, but I've heard really good things about them. So, it's not going to be one-way traffic. And Mason, I'd be keen to hear your thoughts, because you get a little bit more insight about them.
Yeah, for sure. Look, some of their results have been up and down. Obviously, there's been most of the eyes on the higher teams like yourself, Kotara, Croatia, the Suns, that. So, maybe coming into this game a bit unseen probably could be a benefit to Swansea. Not sure how closely you guys follow them yourselves. But yeah, definitely I think just any game with an atmosphere and something more than just 3 points on the line makes it a spectacle in itself, no matter what teams are playing in it. But talking about football then, and as we're saying, your position on the ladder at the moment, it's the best position you've been in so far since about the 2019 season, where I think the club came fourth. That was the club went all the way to the grand final, coming down 2-0 to Swansea. So in an interesting reflection on that, not sure. I look at it, the three of you not might not have remembered, known. But yeah, when I was looking at a few things today, I thought that was an interesting thing.
Again, cliche, but I couldn't tell you where they are on the table. I couldn't tell you a single result that they've had other than the odd chat, which I don't, because what I'm trying to instill and this match to match, it's easy to say it, but I've got to find a way to do it. That's what, all these things that coaches talk about, I've got to do it so that it's, the guys see it. So we don't generally really talk about our opposition before any game. We concentrate on ourselves because that's what we can control, and that's more important to me. You start overthinking, you're going to put yourself in a hole in my experience. So, what we know is Swansea beat us last year in a catch-up game, and there's some teams that for whatever reason match up against a different style, or they, absolutely. It's one of the toughest games we play every year is against Swansea. So we're not taking anything for granted based on positions on the table. That means absolutely nothing to us. We're going there to try to sort out our own game and continue to build on our style, which again we're a new team, a new squad with me as a new coach. So we're trying to build something, and that takes time, and we don't think it's going to happen overnight. So we expect an absolute shit fight from them, to be honest. Absolutely a massive scrap, which hopefully the boys love and they're up for.
Just wanted to take a minute to thank all of our great sponsors of the Zone In podcast. We have Deploy Football, the leading developers and manufacturers of performance sporting solutions, not only just including our awesome balls, and also sportswear with all of our grassroots clubs in helping them design and produce amazing apparel. One of our other major sponsors, Solved Marketing. If you want your problems solved are the ones to go with. Helping businesses, brands solve complex challenges with ingenuity and creative solutions. Solved Marketing is our go-to agency for all of our marketing needs, and we cannot recommend them enough. And finally, Harry Schnitzel Joint. You guys know every week, Man of the Match is presented with the Harry Schnitzel Award. Definitely go check Harry Schnitzel out. And we know that all the Man of the Match recipients have been so excited to get their Harry Schnitzel Man of the Match Award and get down to Harry Schnitzel Joint. As you're saying then about not thinking too far ahead to games, not looking too deep into other opponents, but thinking now that fingers crossed we're back on a roll of games and back to normal season. For the back end of this season now, with you guys being up there, is there thoughts going through heads of players, coach, club as a whole about, with the promotion relegation system in place now, what are the aspirations for the club with the potential thought of maybe being promoted, winning the comp for starters, and being promoted into Northern League?
Yeah, well, the guys can, from give their players' perspective, it's really interesting. If dilemma's the right word, but it's an interesting thing that promotion relegation's brought up, because a lot of the quality players in our competition have come from NPL because of those commitments. So to then have to go back up again, it can really have some dynamics on your club in terms of they don't want to play at that level, or they would be. We want to win the competition, and I have my reasons for that, which goes back to a lot of the old boys. I went to a life member induction a few years ago, and to hear the people speak that started the club, they still talk about never winning a first grade competition and what it would mean to them, and that it just really hit home for me, and I would love to try and be a part of that. So if going up is a side effect of winning the comp, then we'll take it in our stride and deal with it. But it's pretty scary from a coaching perspective when you start to think about the financial implications of that next level. So starting to try to work out how to pay players and sponsorships, and it's a scary thought that look, trying not to think of, to be honest, because of how, it's a lot of hard work. So, again, we just talk about game by game, just super quickly. If all goes well, we actually have a catch-up game on Wednesday against the Olympics. So what we're talking about Old Boys Day, there's a lot can change between now and then. So just try and take it as it comes and see what happens. But interested in
and
what
then,
the
yeah,
boys
for
think.
a player's perspective, whether, and be honest of the positives and the negatives of maybe being promoted, the feeling of it would be good, obviously, but then, yeah, as we're saying, the commitment goes up, your outlay might go up. Then you got to, as Willow says, think about being paid. Is that what you're really playing for the club?
How
for
do you get paid now? Tight ass.
I reckon, I don't know, dilemma is probably a good word as well, because obviously we want to win every game and we're not going to stop winning games on purpose if it comes down to it. But especially like credit to you guys with all the Zone Football League coverage and stuff now. It's such a good league that a lot of teams, I would say, wouldn't want to make that step up to the next comp because this comp's so well covers. What's the word I'm looking for? Great coverage.
It's got a level of professionalism the other
Yeah,
grades haven't got, and we deliver it in a high level.
100%.
That just it hits all marks, mate. You don't have to. Yeah,
Took
no
words out of my mouth, but everyone wants to play in this league, and then I know a lot of my mates that are playing at Kotara and like us and a lot of other boys in the comp all used to play NPL or some higher level and now come back to play with their mates. But Zone League's a good level of in between NPL and all age where it's still really quality, high competitive football without the like restraints of NPL on everyday life and work life and everything. So I think, obviously we're taking it one game at a time and stuff, and promotion's not even on our mind. But it's just an interesting thing to think about.
I think as a team as well, we just want to win. That's like on Wednesday, on the weekend, we just want to win, and whatever that brings us as a team, then I guess we face it. But I think also looking at it next year, if there was promotion for our team, for our club, I think it would impact, like the standard would impact a lot of the boys as well. I think we would be saying goodbye to a fair chunk of the boys and bringing in some new faces, obviously, as the club evolves. So I think that's a aspect to look at where I wouldn't say fearful, but it's kind of just like there's a lot of change that's coming to Newcastle football with the promotion relegation thing. So that's just my view on it.
And your collective use of we then makes it sound like you're not getting the chop if you go up, or
Well, the standard goes up. I'm jumping around thirds as it is, so how it is. I don't know yet, but no, I don't know. If there's money involved, I might be able to bribe Willow into a little first grade bench. And
you start paying him instead of the club paying you.
Well, the other boys start getting paid, but I pay him to sit on the bench and make me look pretty.
All jokes aside, there wouldn't be, I believe we have a squad that if we had the facilities and we trained as hard, I genuinely believe our squad could match it with the NPL sides, so that's my belief, and
Sounds
I'm
like
honest.
you're flogging them anyway, mate. Like that, it's been pinging down rain for the last 6 weeks, and they haven't had a session off.
They had a few Pilates sessions, Fife said. There's a bit of meditation in there. It's not all 1 hour runs.
Not many pub sessions.
It's it's when you talk about that and you talk about the commitment of NPL, you go, well, how different is it? Really, how different is it? And maybe people talk about, I can't play NPL because I can't commit to it. Is that really the case? Really, because you come and play in Willow's team and you're going to work hard.
Yeah,
and
but that's when
the
the culture comes back into it with the boys again.
Yeah,
just like doing it with your friends.
Absolutely. So you got to have the right group in front of you. There was a team that I was coaching at Lace that was in second division. We got promoted, went into first. Out of that whole squad, there was only 2 players that we as a group, coaching group, thought were capable of making. So we got another 20 players. Oh, wow. So that was to be competitive and ran second in the next division. So it's like it's a difficult one, the promotion relegation, because you want to stay with your mates. This culture you've built is one there for sure. But I'm with Willow. If you guys are good enough to go up as a group. Go and win it as a group, in the next level. Do it again and get better as you go.
Yeah. Scratch what I said then.
Idiot.
I think you've said it, and from hearing a lot of the teams talk, I think that's what the Zone League and the community football has, is that there's still that that team culture, that community. So I've been involved in local NPL football now since 2015, and my son coming through and different things. And yeah, it really struck me. So I lived in the bush for a long time, and you come here and it's really cutthroat. You know, there's teams that'll make 8, 12 changes. You know, so for that many people to come in, I think is weird, and then to let that many people go. And I don't think over a a long period of time that's sort of sustainable and creates a culture. You know, the players are entitled to make money, right? But it sort of creates this environment where if I'm not getting the money I deserve, well, I'll go get it somewhere else, you know. Whereas when you're playing with your mates, it's different. It's about the badge. It's about them. It's not about the money. And money's a funny thing. It does interesting
I
things. I
totally agree, and that's why I'm all for if you get promoted, you do get promoted. You get promoted together and go and play the next division and test that one out. You know, and you're all learning then, and everyone's learning. I'm loving the coverage that this league has got too, by the way. And I know that you guys love it. One of the players I thought was really good for you on the weekend was Dom Smith. I thought he came in. He was a first starter, first grade game. Willow, is that correct?
His first start in first grade. He was on the bench the week before. He unfortunately picked up a hamstring injury in the Charlie Turner Cup game and had a long. Yeah, it was a bad injury. He was out for maybe 6 to 8 weeks. So he's building his fitness as well, and he's only going to improve as the season progresses.
Yeah, I thought he was really good in the fact that you didn't see a lot of him. He was just very efficient. You know, he won the ball, he rolled it off, he did lots of leg work, he did lots of defending for you and had himself in the right place, picked it up, rolled it off, picked it up, rolled it off. And that's a sign of a good midfielder. Thought then there were others as well. So have you got a bit of a rotation policy in your group? How is that going, managing the weather and the
I'll let Willow
struck a chord here, CT.
Yeah, look, that's it's really tough, and I think at times maybe the coaches in the leagues maybe don't get enough credit. There's a lot of talk about the squad that Croatia has, but managing that on a weekly basis is not necessarily an easy thing either. So yeah, for whatever reasons this year we got a lot of new quality players to the club, and you know, in my opinion, we have 20 plus first grade players, and it's really hard. People say it's good problems to have, but it's really hard because yes, you need to. So many factors that come into play, and yeah, it's again where I'm learning. I'm not perfect. I don't get it right every week, but you know, I try to communicate. It's been tricky lately with the weather and not seeing the players for like quite as a structured sort of thing. So yeah, it's a real conundrum for coaches that they have to manage from week to week. And so yeah, we're rotating. I have a strong squad, and I believe that come the end of the season, hopefully, you know, as the injuries come in, the suspensions come in, the overseas travel comes in, all these things, that we still have, you know, really good 15, 16 players there that can compete for silverware if we're there and we get there.
Yeah, and Damien Zane from Edgeworth at his time there, he advertised the fact that he was rotating his players, and he got his players comfortable with that. And I don't know, you know, as a player, for me, I always want to play. If I'm not playing first grade, I'm like, you know what it's like. You just get, hey, you know, come on, you know, get this guy in order. But to get comfortable with the rotation is not that easy. But he seemed to do that really well. Yeah. Manage your squad and manage your injuries. But having said all of that, it's not that easy, and it's hard to get a little bit more consistent as well. So, you know, you got to balance that consistency with players coming in and out, planned or unplanned.
Well, someone in the squad, just to highlight, that would surely be hard to drop from first would be Cooper Jensen. 9 goals at the moment, most for the club currently, and also 8 points in the best and fairest run. He's having a blinder. Tell us a little about him, and like, what do you think as a coach, seeing him out there every week?
Look at the smile on his face.
Well, I just because he's new to the club this year. He came really late. He's a friend of my son Zenden's. He's come through school together, and the reason I smile is like we love having him on our team. until you're against him at training. The intensity that he has in a game, he brings to training. He kicks you, you have bruises, you cop the stray elbows, his arms and legs. But when you talk about effort, that's Janzo. He gives every ounce of everything he has for the team, and
so he's obviously getting more of the points for the best, not the fairest. Then, if he's kicking strays,
I think he was harsh to get a red card on his debut. He came off the bench, but I had Tyson Cummings scored a first half hat trick for me, and I put him on the bench the next game to rotate. We've got 5. Toppy, the list of players in our team is phenomenal. And to me, what I'm just trying to build on what we're doing and reminding them that to me the quality on the bench is a strength, not a weakness, and I want it to push them to be better. I think when you're just starting every week and you're in that side, you can get a little bit complacent, whereas I'm hoping in the long term that this they see it as getting to play with the best players around, and that will ultimately make them better, even though sometimes short term it doesn't seem like that. Long term, I believe these guys will be better because of the strength in the squad.
For sure. And
boys want to talk about Janzo? Or?
Yeah, I'll try a bit of a Jensen. Yeah, he's a freak. Like Willow said at training, first couple of sessions we rock up to train, I was like, I didn't know him. Yeah. And every 6v6 possession drill, he would hit like a truck, genuine truck. And I would be like, who is this? And then, how old is he? 20, he's young. How old is he?
21.
21? Yeah, he's 21, 22, built like a 30-year-old bodybuilder. He's one of the strongest men in the league, and he's just
similar to CT, yeah.
Some of the goals he scored this year just off pure strength and determination, like goals that 99% of other blokes don't score because they don't have that effort and grit that he has. Yeah. So credit to him.
It's good though. He puts himself on rotation, which is pretty good. He's in Vanuatu right now somewhere. He's just taking a holiday.
Giving everyone else a chance.
Yeah, it helps me out. I whisper into Willow's ear, put me up front when he's gone. So I'm trying to win that best and fairest. But I don't know. He can stay overseas for now, mate, because I want to score a couple.
Just while you've got the mic as well, Coop, I can't get over the fact 3 times now I've heard you pronounce Coop's last name. What's the go with that? I've been to school with Coop. And I don't know if I've been getting it wrong. I thought it was Toby, but apparently
you're correct. It is Toby. Do you want to talk about it, or?
I reckon we tell it.
Yeah, weird. Yeah, it's not good. Well,
is it acceptable for camera? We'll start with that.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
It is.
Go on then.
Last season,
letdown.
Last season, I had a position change. I had a training session, and we're talking about where I was going to play in a trial match against South Cardiff, and I asked to play. I told Will I could play in the midfield, and I guess he believed me. I think I was kind of telling a fib, but he played me in there. And then all last season, I had I was playing in the defensive role in the midfield, and I ended up winning. What was it? Most improved in that position. So got this award. I was heaps hyped up for it. And you get like this mug for it, and I was so keen, and Joe Barnett rocked up to train and gave it to me. I'm like, yeah, best thing ever. Went home, made a hot chocolate, poured it in my mug, sitting there in the lounge, and I'm like, how good's this to my family? And it says Kotara Toppy, T-O-P-Y. And I've gone, you are joking. And then I thought that it was funny, lighthearted. I just put it in the chat, and then we have a trial match.
Stuck.
Yeah, we have a trial match next week, and my first grade coach is yelling out, nice Toppy, and then the sexual innuendos came from that. So.
Good.
Yeah.
Bad.
And then,
Willow's very bad with this. He can, the innuendos are kind of crazy.
Right, okay.
We'll leave it out of there.
Well, before we get cancelled, we'll move on a bit. I also...
Have Sarah about this? No. She'll know now.
I also went to school with Nathan Toppy, and you guys unfortunately knocked out in the Australia Cup by Olympic. How was it coming up against your own brother in a game like that?
It's like, bucket list. It was a dream. Like, we've spoken about it as soon as I joined the club, and I could, there was a way that we could verse each other through this, crazy loophole.
Yeah.
We were just waiting for the year, and then I remember I was in my room, and the group chat was just going crazy. And then I remember like Nathan rang me and I was like, why's he ringing me? He was like, we're versing each other. And I was just like, no way. And then for both clubs to make it like me and him on the poster, genuinely, it's a dream. Like that's one, it's just like, I was on cloud 9 for sure.
Yeah, and the fam would have got behind it as well.
Big time. Mum was wearing this hat actually.
Yeah, so she picked a side.
Well, she had the Kotara hat and then the Olympic polo, so same as stepdad, and the whole fam was getting amongst it. It was nice.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. And then just back on that, do you want to defend yourself at all with the Toppy comments at all? Anything to say from that?
No comment.
Just wear it. Charge.
Well, in being aware of the time, it has flown, but before we get going, as CT mentioned earlier and we've touched on a little bit, this coming weekend, the round 11 Bar TV match of the round, Saturday 7th of June, 2:30 at Nesbitt Park. You guys, Kotara South versus Swansea. As we said, we've touched on it already, but going to be a big game. Anything you guys like to speak on about that? Have you got any juniors you want to get your juniors to hang around? Any fanfare, club activities that you got there? Sponsors you want to shout out? Anything like that?
Yeah, I've definitely got them here.
Something you prepared earlier. Look at that.
No one ever wants to forget any. So look, our great sponsors: Newcastle Demolition, the Blackbutt Hotel, Four Pines, Charlestown. We mentioned Talk to Me Bro, Total Engraving, Perry's Plumbing, TLE Electrical, Shammy's Car Wash, The Grand, Next Gen, Welcome Real Estate, the George Derby Hotel. So we love all our sponsors, and absolutely they'll be getting invites and would hopefully come down and have a good day. Where any old boy that turns up is going to get a free sausage sandwich and a free beer on the club. So, if that's not a good enough reason, I don't know what is. But, the beauty is that they'll be turning up to watch Conference League. They really enjoy the day, and it's really cool seeing the smiles on their faces. And look, hopefully we can have them smiling all day. It's just a day every club looks forward to, the old boys, because they're your history. I think it's a really important part of your club, and to have a day that remembers them, it's really exciting. Like this old mug here, seeing him in that spray-on shirt. Yeah, we all really enjoy that every year.
What does happen, especially in the event that the club wins, that everyone goes up into the clubhouse at Nesbitt Park and does this amazing team song. All the old boys get in. What we'll try and do, and I'll get to Swansea in a second, but if you were to win, to get a camera, it won't be live, but to get it in there so we can capture that, so you can put it on your webpage. And we've been talking about that at Bar TV already, so it won't be on air, but it's certainly worth a watch if you go on there. And I don't know, Mason, we might be able to get a clip of that,
for sure,
on next week's show, whatever it is. Really looking forward to catching up with you guys at Swansea. Now, Gary Wilson and I will both be at the game doing the commentary there as well, and both of us will be in contact, or at least one of us will be. We get all the dirt and your players, get to know you and who you are, and look forward to bringing your two teams together. And it's not just a Kotara show. You've got the big opportunity to knock them over and knock them out. I might get knocked out for saying that by the time I get out of here. But I'm really looking forward to Swansea, you guys coming along, and when it's your turn, at your club, I'd love to listen to your stories and your club history and what that's all about, because we know you've got one too. So looking forward to catching up with you guys. Mason, great show today, and these guys have been a blast.
No, it's been great to have you guys on, and like CT said, would be good for you guys being in front of the camera in the game. But don't think it's all smile and laughs. I've been on that other side of the camera once already this season, and you've got to have pretty thick skin when CT's got the mic to his mouth. So.
I've got to say, he was on the other side of the camera. He hit a cracker. I don't know if you saw the bomb that he hit. Smith Park, Smith Park, and he's hit an absolute bomb. Yeah. Celebration of a lifetime. Looking forward to seeing that from you guys. Looking forward to seeing you on Saturday. Good luck on Wednesday night. Mason, another good show.
For sure. Yeah. Thanks guys.
Thanks for having us.
This is the Zone Football League.